It is such a nice day today, out driving around with the windows down. Man, sometimes it's great to live in Phoenix. I hope you're doing well this week. I was thinking about what we talked about just this last Sunday about generosity. And one of the things that really stuck with me when I was a kid was what my parents taught me. And I thought, we need to be thinking about this as parents and grandparents. How do we teach our kids about financial health? And like we said on Sunday, financial health starts in our heart, not in our wallet. And one of the ways we can do that is to teach our kids to be generous and our grandkids to be generous. And it doesn't really matter how old they are because as parents and grandparents, we actually have a great influence on them. I remember when I was a kid, I used to get an allowance and it wasn't much. I think it was like $2.50 a week, something like that. And I had to mow the lawn just to get that. But my dad was very clear with me that when he paid me, he said, now you need to take 10% of this and give it to the church. And so when you're making $2.20 or $2.50 a quarter, it's really not that big a deal, but it really started to ingrain a habit. And I remembered that. And as I got older and then had my kids of my own, one of the things that Don and I did that I'm so glad we did, because I think it really made a difference. We bought these banks and they were like plastic molded things and it looked like three different buildings and they had little stickers on them. And so the first building was a sticker on it that said church. The next building had a sticker on it and it said bank. And the third building had a sticker on it that said store. And what happened was each roof had a little slot. And so we taught our girls every time you get money, you put some in the church, the give section. You put some in the bank to save and you put some in the store to spend. And so they learn from a very early age, anytime you get money, you give some, you save some, and then you have the rest to spend. Now, we've made mistakes. I'm sure my kids have made mistakes, but I also know that starting out early really made an impact on them. But again, no matter what the age is, I would encourage you, whoever you have influence with, talk to them about being financially healthy. Show them what generosity looks like, and then try to find ways to help them be generous too, because that's going to ultimately make their heart healthy, and then eventually they'll be financially healthy. So I hope that's helpful to you. It made a big difference for me and for my family, and I believe it will for yours as well. I also wanted to take just a minute and tell you about the series that's coming up called Doubting My Doubt. And this is a series that's been on my heart for a while, and Pastor Corey as well, as we talked about it and planned and prayed over it. We realized that so many people, because of the struggles that they've encountered over the last year or 18 months, have really begun to doubt. They started to doubt the government. They've doubted God. They've doubted their family. They've doubted some of their relationships. And that doubt really does damage. It can wear a hole in your soul. And so we wanted to address, what does God say about that? How am I supposed to deal with the doubts that I have? I'm not supposed to just ignore them. Obviously, I need to do something about it. And Jesus spoke to that. And so I hope you'll be part of this series, because one of the worst things you can do when you're fighting with doubt is to isolate. When you cut yourself off from other people, boy, your doubts just kind of start to add up because there's nobody there to counter it. The negative thoughts we have, the doubts we're trying to work out, they really begin to do damage to us. And we become cynical and we become even bitter if we're not careful. And those doubts really create a crisis within us if we don't deal with them. You see, having a doubt is not the problem. It's not dealing with the doubt that's the problem. And like I said, so often when we have doubts, we start to isolate. And it's bad enough if we isolate from other people, but it is hugely damaging when we isolate from God. That's why it is so important to be connected to a church family and to be connected to God, because your doubts are going to come, but God uses the way he speaks to us through his church and through other people and the way we connect personally with God to help us deal with our doubts. And if we cut those things off, our doubts run wild. And so I don't want that for you. I don't want you to be wondering and worried and bitter and angry and skeptical and letting your doubts kind of eat you up from the inside. I want just the opposite. I want you to have confidence in who God is and the plan and the life that he has for you. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what Jesus's number one and number two go-tos were when it came to dealing with doubt. And then we're going to talk about the specific areas that make us doubt. They really fall into about three categories. One is we worry that we don't have enough and we start to doubt, whether that's enough time or money or emotional capacity or relationship, whatever it might be. We worry that we don't have enough. Our doubts get kind of growing in that fertile soil. The other category is pain. and loss. When we have pain, when we struggle, when we feel like we've been wronged, doubt can really start to grow and creep. Again, if we don't deal with it, that's when we run into problems. It's not that we have doubts. It's not that because the pain or the loss we've suffered is a problem. It's just we have to be willing to deal with our doubt before our doubt takes us out. And then the final thing that really causes our doubts to run wild is when we feel like there's just too much stacked up against us. The opposition is too great. The things in life are just really working against me and starting to cascade on me, and it's getting too heavy, and I doubt that anybody cares. I doubt that I can do this. I doubt that anybody's willing to go with me. Again, it's not having the doubts that's the problem. It's failing to deal with the doubts. So we're going to do that. We're going to deal with doubt and doubt our doubts over the next several weeks. I hope you'll be there with us because by the end of it, you'll be able to take out your doubts. Thanks, and I'll talk to you again soon.